Every day, folks. Every day we got to do it, and every day it matters. Shout out to the team, Amina and Jonah. Really grateful for y'all, and just y'all. Everything that you see me do on these airwaves is because these two women like help make it happen. So when you see them in them street, well, you won't ever see them because they don't show their face, and they're not gonna show their face, as far as I understand. If they change their mind, I'll let y'all know. But if y'all ever get a sense that their presence is in the room, I want you to give them a big thank you because nothing happens here without their support. Shout out to the Urban View family. Shout out to the Nubians. I'm so grateful for all of you. And today's inspiration comes from none other than the phenomenal Bell Hooks. And we are continuing in this conversation or this mini series of Moment of Gratitude prompts where we're really focusing on justice and our obligation to participate in its procurement. Justice and our obligation to participate in its procurement. Bell Hooks said the following. She says, justice demands integrity. Let's pause right there. Remember, y'all, integrity is doing what's right even when no one's looking. It's doing what's right all the time. It's walking in righteousness. Okay? Justice demands integrity, says Bell Hooks. It's to have a moral universe. Not only know what is right or wrong, but to put things in perspective, weigh things. Justice is different from violence and retribution. It requires a complex accounting. Justice demands integrity. It's to have a moral universe, not only to know what is right or wrong, but to put things in perspective, to weigh things. It's different from violence and retribution. It requires complex accounting. This is a call for me, to intelligent approaches to the justice that we seek. This, to me, speaks to the need for us to interrogate and to complicate and to problematize, to use some of my friends in the academic world, some of their language, to really have a much more nuanced understanding, not just of the wrongs that are being done in this world, but the rights that are going to be required to correct those wrongs. It requires us to intentionally delve deeply. It forbids us, this understanding of justice, it forbids us from sitting on the surface. It forbids us from doing the easy thing. Because a lot of times the easy thing is not going to be the right thing. Justice truly requires us to have a complicated view of the world. It's going to be very hard for unintelligent people to have a real understanding of justice. And by unintelligent, I mean people who are not willing to do the work of growing their brains. In our first year, we had an extensive segment on Moment of Gratitude, weeks at a time, where we were talking about a growth mindset and the capacity that we all have to grow and expand our learning, to grow and expand our thinking, to grow and expand the quality of our thoughts. And the justice that we are going to have to fight for in this moment is the kind of justice that does not have cute talking points. It's not cutesy. Okay, it's not demure. It's aggressive, it's assertive, it's complex, it's intricate. It takes a holistic approach to the wrongs that have been done and boldly, fearlessly grapples with those wrongs to produce outcomes. It does not do what so many of us do, which is be minded or put into memory of the fact that we have some benefit or there is some wrong that's happening and then we run away from responsibility. That's not justice. Justice demands integrity. Not only to know what is right or wrong, but to put things in perspective, to weigh things, to have a Solomon cut the baby in half kind of approach. And, right, not all of you are part of the Christian tradition. So there's this king in the Bible. His name is Solomon. He's supposedly very, very wise. And one of the reasons he's very, very wise is because when the good Lord was like, Solomon, what do you want? Solomon was like, I want to be wise. And God was like, bet, I got you. Not only do I got you, but good on you. That was a great request. So God gives him wisdom in abundance. He's got riches. He's got wives. He's got all the things. I think wasn't Solomon David's son? So see, remember I talked about David when somebody tried to call and troll about Martin Luther King. I was talking about how like Martin Luther King was caught out there, being sideways in them streets and not with Coretta. And we had to remind him about David in the Bible, who was such a hoe that he lusted after Bathsheba and then killed Bathsheba's husband so he could have her. How did I get to that story? Oh yeah, I think David was Solomon's daddy, if I recall. So even the hoiest of hoes can sometimes produce goodness. That's the biblical lesson for today. But what she's saying here, I talk about Solomon there was this case that came before Solomon, and these two women were fighting over whose baby it was. And they didn't have DNA evidence back then, so there was no Maury Povich, you are not the father. There wasn't none of that. And these two women was like, no, it's my baby. And the other one was like, nope, it's my baby. And the woman was like, no, it's my baby. And Solomon's like, bet, I can't tell who the baby looked like. We're going to cut the baby in half, and then each of you can have a half. One have the top half, one have the bottom half. And the woman whose baby it really was like, no, wait a minute. We don't need to kill the baby. Give her the baby. Because it's my baby, but I don't want the baby cut in half. Give her the baby. And Solomon was like, got you. It's actually her baby. Because the woman who was willing to cut the baby in half, she was there for spite, she was there for evil. So Solomon's wisdom was he had to weigh things, difficult issues. And that's what justice requires. It requires that we put things in perspective, that we weigh things. There is a complex accounting, which means we got to build up our brain muscles. We got to build up our knowledge muscles. And we can't do this work off of a surface level public school education approach to justice. It's going to have to be a Nubian approach to justice. If you know, you know. Complex accounting demands integrity. It's not about right or wrong only, but it's about putting things in perspective, to weigh them. The beautiful thing is we have the capacity to do all of that and more. My friends, I don't know what it is today that gives you a sense of joy or gratitude or appreciation, but whatever it is, I want you to hold on to it, cherish and nourish it, and sprinkle as much of the juicy goodness of it as you possibly can into the lives of other people, because Lord knows we could all use a bit more of it. And that, my friends, is today's moment of gratitude.